What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Noah Gray here, tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Josh's channel and check out showmefootball.com for more.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to I guess we're gonna call this the showmefootball.com podcast. We haven't done the showmefootball.com podcast in like a year, so we'll call it that. But
what do you call your podcast now?
I don't even really call it a podcast or do a podcast. Everything just goes on the YouTube channel. I mean, you can kind of call them podcasts because that's kind of the format we do it in. But
I feel like the Show Me Football podcast should be you and me, though.
Yeah, and it is. So this
but
this
I mean,
works.
like, I don't think you'd count like any of your like solo vids or anything as like the showmefootball.com podcast. I think the showmefootball.com podcast is just like you and me and this dynamic that we got going on.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's me and Connor again, youth consultant Connor, because I guess I have to call him that here now.
I forgot. I genuinely forgot that's what my name said.
Well, it's there, so that's what we're going to call you. We're just going to talk about all the NFL games that happened today. You know, we technically we don't really go outside of the Kansas City Chiefs or like Missouri football too often. Yeah, I don't. But you know what? We just wanted to hit on all the games today and everything that happened because it was a great day of games. And you know what? Screw it. We're going to talk football. But the first game today was Patriots-Steelers. And this was honestly, to me, this was like the most forgettable game of the day. Neither team really looked great. Both Mac Jones and Mitch Trubisky, the quarterbacks for both teams, I think Connor's walking off because he knows that I'm about to say Mac Jones is not a top 100 player. Either that or he's going to get something Mac Jones. He might be going to put on his Mac Jones jersey. But neither Mitch Trubisky nor Mac Jones really looked all that good today. Patriots won 17-14. Damian Harris and Nelson Aguilar were their Yep, I knew it. I predicted it. I knew this dude was going to go get a Mac Jones jersey. When you got up, Connor, I predicted that you were going to go put on a Mac Jones jersey.
I didn't put it on, but Mac Jones, best quarterback in the NFL. My personal favorite player in the NFL.
He's not a top 100 player, though.
Fuck you.
He's not. He's not a top 100 player. I have no idea how he made the NFL top 100.
Best quarterback in the league.
I mean, this game, like...
Should that just be a running gag? Every time you start to talk about a game, I get up and grab a jersey from that corresponding game?
No, please, God, no, don't do that.
I think I might have enough jerseys to make that happen.
I would not doubt it whatsoever.
That sounds like a challenge, Joshua. But yeah, Mac Jones played great.
No, he did not play great.
Yes, he did.
No, he did not.
He threw a dime to Nelson Aguilar, best quarterback in the league, better than Mafraud.
So, honestly, this game was very forgettable to me. I don't even remember a lot from this game.
Mac played great. That was it.
He really didn't. I know Patriots fans, whenever I was scrolling through Twitter, though, they were like really disappointed by Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. Like, I remember a lot of people were excited about what Belichick would do with those two tight ends, but they just have kind of been underwhelming, and they did nothing
Jonnu
today.
Especially. Hunter, like, this year they haven't really done anything, but last year Hunter definitely had his moments, but Jonnu has been, like, the really bad one.
Yeah,
it looks like a massive waste.
Yeah, they signed him to that big deal to sign him away from the Titans, and he just hasn't done too much. The Patriots did utilize their running back slot today, Damian Harris, Ramador Stevenson. I'm honestly a big fan of both of them, especially Damian Harris. He had 15 carries for 71 yards and a touchdown. Him and Ramador Stevenson seem to be really like splitting the carries for the Patriots, at least so far this year. I like Damian Harris a lot. I know you do too because he's an Alabama dude, but I like watching this.
What's the implication there? Josh, I am a proud co-host of the Show Me Football podcast. I would never root for the Alabama Crimson Tide. I am loyal to Mizzou.
You can't play that when you already pulled out a Mac Jones jersey. Like, people are going to already wonder why the hell you have
Mac.
that.
I love Mac.
Yeah, I know.
It's not like I have a bunch of Alabama memorabilia in the room behind me. No, never. It's not like I sleep underneath a signed picture of Nick Saban. Nah, nothing like that.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to ask you, because this is more fun than talking about the game. How much longer until we see Kenny Pickett?
That's kind of the reason why I've last week I really wanted the Bengals to win, and they should have. They would have if it wasn't for a backup long snapper. But I was like, of course I want Mac to win, but I also wanted the Patriots to win because I just want to see Mr. Biscuit leave because I didn't like him in Chicago, and he's like one of those quarterbacks that I'm just tired of watching, and I feel like once Pittsburgh has probably once they have a losing record is when Kenny will come in. But the issue is Mr. Biscuit isn't really the issue right now. Matt Canada is the issue. Heck, Snoop Dogg made a video telling Mike Tomlin to fire Matt Canada today, which was pretty funny. But yeah, I think most of the blame's going towards the offensive coordinator. So when that's happening, I don't know if you can really justify pulling Mr. Biscuit yet. But God, I hope we see Kenny soon.
See, what frustrates me is NFL teams always seem to do this, and it drives me insane. It's like they know they need a new quarterback through the draft in all likelihood, and what they do is they go out and okay, the Bears did it with Mike Glennon before they drafted Mitch Trubisky initially. What's another one?
Andy Dalton to the Bears.
Yeah, and they're always signing these stopgap quarterbacks to deals where it's you think they're going to be the starter for at least a couple years, and then they draft a guy, and everyone's calling for the new guy to start. Everyone knows the new guy's going to start eventually, and you're just creating this awkward situation between two quarterbacks where the older guy knows he's eventually going to get beat out, or he's not even going to get beat out for the job necessarily, but the young guy, everyone's going to want to see him, and the older guy is going to start playing bad, and they put in the young guy, and this is what happens every single time. The young guy flashes, and then the older guy loses a starting spot, and you just sunk a bunch of money into this veteran quarterback for no reason that everyone knew you were going to end up replacing with a draft pick anyway. And teams do this every single year, and I don't know why. The Steelers, what was the point in signing Mitch Trubisky? No one wants to see him play.
I can understand your point here, but keep in mind that free agency is before the draft, right? And they signed Mitch Trubisky to come in and be the starter for this year, and they were planning on drafting a quarterback. And you know how volatile the quarterback draft was this year. They ended up all falling. But if you look at mock drafts and stuff, there were talks of Malik Willis going at 2, Kenny Pickett going at 6. Pittsburgh really had no idea what quarterback they were going to get. They had no idea what quarterback they wanted to get at the time that they signed Trubisky. So by signing Trubisky, they basically just said, so we know we have a quarterback for at least this year. And it doesn't put them in a position where they absolutely have to draft a quarterback. So because there was a rumor that Matt Rule really liked Kenny Pickett. Let's say Kenny Pickett went top 10 to the Panthers and Pittsburgh was screwed. Or let's say Pittsburgh just didn't like what they saw from Pickett, Willis, or Ritter, and they just didn't want a quarterback, but they're in a position where one of them has to start. That's why they signed him. And I know the response is going to be, well, why not make it just 1 year? Two things: they want to make it so that they have more flexibility. And if I don't think True would sign a 1-year deal at that point. I think True signing with the Steelers in general was just a bad decision. I think True should have gone to the Giants and just followed Brian Daboll there. But he ended up in Pittsburgh. And yeah, it's a bad situation as far as the fans go because nobody wants to see Mr. Biscuit play. But I think we've seen situations, the Jets are a good example of it. Every quarterback the Jets draft, Zach Wilson, Sam Darnold, all of them, just get thrown to the wolves right away, right? And all of them suck. And so I think that a lot of teams want to go for more the Mahomes approach where they just sit until they're ready, you know? Because we saw Mahomes start one game his rookie year. He was not ready. So I think they'd rather have a quarterback have Kenny sit and wait behind Mr. Biscuit until they think he's ready to go. But the issue with that for me wasn't Kenny a super senior at Pitt? And like the Titans having Willis sit behind Tannehill makes perfect sense. Willis is not NFL ready at all, but the biggest selling point on Kenny was that he was the most ready day one starter. You really didn't look at any of these other guys as day one starters except Kenny, and he was kind of the veteran among the group. So it doesn't really make sense to have Kenny sit when his biggest upside was he's a day one starter, but that's what they're choosing to do.
Yeah, no, your points make sense. And I've considered that before, but in the end, it's like, if you want a quarterback, but you know that, like, yes, there's always the possibility where, the draft doesn't fall correctly. And like you said, free agency comes before the draft. So you're preparing for this scenario in which you go into the draft wanting a quarterback, but you don't get a quarterback. Well, even then, it's not like you're planning to win with this guy, and I guess it depends on the coach and, where they're at on the hot seat, and the general manager as well. You're still trying to compete maybe, but I don't know. It's just, it sucks when teams sign these uninspiring quarterbacks and immediately draft a new one behind them, and they just pretty much set up the guy they signed in free agency for failure.
I mean, to be fair, it's not like Pittsburgh is like a poverty franchise that can afford to just tank a season with a crappy quarterback. Like, Pittsburgh has they've missed the playoffs a few times, but I don't think they've had a bad record for years. And there's like some veterans on that team. Like, do you really want to waste a year of Minkah Fitzpatrick and TJ Watt and Ironhead Hayward and all them? So I think True is just a stopgap.
Yeah, no, he is.
But it ultimately comes down to, when is Kenny ready? And that's what True gives you. It gives you insurance until Kenny is ready. But honestly, I think Kenny's ready. Like I said, he was the most ready of all the quarterbacks. Like, if they drafted Malik, the True signing, I don't think you'd be questioning the True signing at all if they drafted Malik, right? But with it being Kenny, it's like, it's so, the funniest criticism of Kenny to me is like, he won't be able to handle the weather in Pittsburgh. That's just hysterical to me. It's like, oh boy, whoa, he played at
How did he do it at Pittsburgh?
Heinz Field.
Yeah, no, how did he do it at Pittsburgh?
He didn't even have to move. It's the same locker room. He just turns left instead of right, I think he said. Maybe it's the other way around, but who cares? Nobody who's invested in Pitt football watches the show, so.
So are you telling me that you didn't want to see Mason Rudolph go out there again for another try with the Steelers this year?
Okay, so with Big Ben, there were a couple interesting backups that they had at different points because, Big Ben was always hurt and they had a revolving door. Josh Dobbs, Duck Hodges, Landry Jones are the ones that come to mind. I'm trying to think of some other ones. I feel like there's a major one I'm missing, but Mason Rudolph was really the one that survived through all of those. Mason Rudolph sucks. I'd much rather watch Duck Hodges go out there than Mason Rudolph.
I think the Steelers fans like Mason Rudolph.
No, they don't. They do not.
I know that was sarcastic.
Do you remember at the cut day, there were a lot of trade rumors for Mason Rudolph? Who's going to trade for Mason Rudolph?
Nobody.
Only team I think you could make an argument for is Detroit because Jared Goff is awful. But you know me. I hate Jared Goff. I don't think Jared Goff is a competent NFL quarterback at all. I don't think Mason Rudolph is any better. I think that's a lateral move at best.
Yeah, there would be no point in doing that. It's like, why?
The only thing you could do, or you could argue for Detroit doing that, is if it was a player Detroit was going to cut anyway that Pittsburgh was still interested in. And then they ended up with Mason Rudolph being the backup instead of Tim Boyle, because Tim Boyle came in last year and made Lions fans miss Jared Goff, which should be impossible. It's kind of the equivalent of going from Eric Fisher to Cam Irving. It's like, yeah, the starter doesn't suck, but the backup is just so horrid. You want the terrible starter back.
Yeah, we had a lot of those players in Kansas City that it just desperate times. Yeah.
like Tyler Bray coming in to relieve Mahomes in his first start and then fucking up the handoff.
Yeah, well, they had to have Mahomes come back in. Like that doesn't happen very often where a team is up by so much they pull the starters out and they're like, actually, we need the starters to come back in. Like that's when you know it's bad.
How did this guy last in the NFL?
I don't know. Isn't he still around somewhere?
Last I checked, he was on Chicago last year.
Yeah. Wow. I had no idea.
No,
he was
he's
still
not.
No.
He's not.
But all right. So Panthers Giants. I feel
Boy,
like
we got off track.
I know. Panthers Giants though. So I mean that game wasn't too much better than Steelers Patriots, and this just feels like a countdown to firing Matt Rule at this point. And the Giants are 2-0. Who would have thought?
I think the Giants need to trade for a quarterback. If the Giants traded for a quarterback, maybe they have a shot at doing something because, see, this is honestly worst case scenario for New York. Like, I get like, oh, we're 2-0. Like, oh, we're actually doing things. We don't completely suck. No, that's not a good thing because you're going to convince this new admin that they can do something with Daniel Jones and they're going to offer him an extension. That is the last thing you want. You want Daniel Jones to suck and you want Tyrod Taylor to come in. Or you want to trade for, I don't know, Sam Darnold. Like, who's a tradable backup?
Lamar Jackson in free agency.
It'd be a tag and trade. But Tyler Huntley would be the best quarterback on the New York Football Giants right now. But or Trubisky. Like once Kenny comes in, Trubisky played under Daboll last year in Buffalo. It wouldn't be a transition at all. Just like send True for a 6th round pick to New York. Yeah, I know where the teams are. And like Trubisky to New York makes so much sense with the Daboll connection, but no, they're just going to keep throwing Daniel Jones out there, who really didn't even look good today. They just won because the Panthers were worse. And like,
That was bad.
I think Baker's probably cooked, dude. Unfortunately, like
I know it sucks for Baker because I do feel like the Browns kind of screwed him over a little bit, and they made him play with that bum shoulder. And
I don't know if that was the Browns or if it was just him being stubborn, but either way, the Browns let him do it.
I think it probably had to have been a little bit of both. But, either way, he gets his fresh start with Carolina. And Carolina is like one of those teams that's like they have a ready-made roster, but they just can't get quarterback right. And they've been cycling in these different guys, and Baker just doesn't seem to be it either. I mean, 14 of 29 for 145 yards, 1 touchdown, and then didn't he turn it over in this game?
I don't know. I feel like the moment we knew it was over was when he didn't beat Cleveland last week, because if there was ever a week that he was going to wake up feeling dangerous this season, it was week 1. So I feel like the writing's just kind of on the wall now, that it's kind of over for Baker. And can you agree with the statement that Matt Rule is NFL Scott Frost?
Yeah, I mean, I think Matt Rule is pretty much toast. Like I said, I think it's a countdown to when he gets fired. I was going to ask you, though, like, if the Panthers bring in a new regime, does Baker get another shot with the new regime? Or
no, he's on a 1-year deal.
Is he cooked? Yeah.
This is a 1-year deal. Or, I mean, they didn't sign him to a 1-year deal, but it's the last.
Right, but he has 1 year left. But do you think they would give him another shot? Would Baker want another shot with Carolina?
I think Baker's going to want whatever he can get. That progressive money isn't going to last forever. But I think the new regime
has live sports. He did a couple things with Hulu too. Baker, okay. Is there anyone that's ever gotten more endorsement deals for doing absolutely nothing than Baker Mayfield?
There's one other player that just got a shit ton of endorsement deals for no reason, and I can't remember who it was. That's going to bother me. Do you remember when Devontae Freeman got like a deal with like some tire company?
Yeah, I remember the commercial too. He was running in like slow motion, and it was when he was still on the Falcons.
Yeah, it was like Bridgeline. I remember Do you know who Zach Allen is? I think that's his name.
Name doesn't ring a bell.
He was like a D lineman for the Cardinals. He might still be there.
I'm looking him up. Yeah. American football defensive tackle for the Arizona Cardinals. Yeah. 25 years old. Number 97.
I think it was Lowe's. But I remember he got an endorsement deal. Might have been like Lowe's or Hose. Might have been like Lowe's or Home Depot or something. But I remember seeing a Zach Allen, like, it said defensive end for the Arizona Cardinals ad. And I was just baffled that Zach Allen, of all players, got an endorsement deal. I can't really figure out. I can't find it. But I know for a fact he got it at some point. Yeah, I'm on Players Wiki trying to find it. People are gonna think I'm crazy because, like, why the hell would Zach Allen?
I believe it. That's some very random player to remember having an endorsement deal.
Yeah, like, why would I make that up? Of all players that I would make up, it wouldn't be Zach Allen, I can tell you that for sure. But yeah, I remember Zach Allen got an endorsement deal. But yeah, that's the only one that comes to mind. There's probably been a couple NBA players that just got deals they didn't deserve.
I do think, though, I mean, going back to the game, it is nice to see the Giants might actually be going somewhere with Brian Daboll. I always thought that was a match made in heaven, Brian Daboll to the Giants, because the Giants they have so much offensive talent that just was not being utilized very well at all. And I mean, Kenny Gallaudet, Sterling Shepard, Darius.
He's not using Gallaudet.
No, well, he's not now, but I'm saying like talent. You know, they had a lot of talent that was there. Saquon Barkley. There was so much talent at the skills positions. Yeah, he does, and I'm not surprised, and I'm glad too, because it seemed like he got injured a couple times, and people just totally forgot who the guy was. It's like the dude is a monster, but Kadarius Toney is another one. Now he seems to be. He's a little bit of an enigma still, but Kenny Gallaudet has definitely fallen out of favor, even with this new regime. I saw something on Twitter today, though, that apparently he cleaned out his locker and was like gone right as the game ended. I don't know if that was true or not, or if that got confirmed, but things seem to be going south with Kenny Gallaudet in New York.
They should probably let them flip him for like a 7th somewhere. I don't know how bad his contract
with the contract, though.
I don't know how bad it is, but I imagine there'd be some team willing to pay it, maybe like Atlanta or something.
I can tell you what his contract is right now. I'm pretty sure the original was like 5 years, 85, or 4 years, 85 million or something like that. But I can go on Spot Track right now and see what is. Yeah. So this year his cap hit is 21 million. Yeah, that's bad. For Kenny Gallaudet, I think he only played like 2 snaps today, and they're paying 21 million for that guy. Yeah, that's almost like you're paying the guy so much you have to play him, even if you don't really want to, because you've got to get.
I don't agree in that philosophy. I feel like you should play your best players. That's something we talk about with the Chiefs a lot. You know,
I know. I agree. I'm just saying, like, man, the contract is just so damn bad. It's like, damn, they almost need to be playing him. I'm saying it in a satirical sense, but
yeah. Shoot, I can't find him on here. I was going to check the dead cap if they were to trade him. Like, do you think even if they got on the phone,
I think the dead cap. You want to know the dead cap? If they if they cut him, let's just say they were done with him. The dead cap is 31.35 million.
Well, when you go to Atlanta, oh wait, the dead cap is 35 million.
31.35 million.
So they can't trade him.
It would be very hard.
Do you think there's like some way they could like work that out where they could be like, "Hey, Kenny, you don't want to be here. We don't want you here." Atlanta has agreed. Like, do you remember when Houston
has agreed?
Do you remember when Houston had that Brock Osweiler deal that like
Yes.
didn't go well, and then they traded a second round pick for the Browns to take it. Do you think
Yeah,
if the, do you think the
you
Giants
say like
no,
are you about to say like if they would attach an asset to him that someone would take him?
nah, but I mean like sort of, because like if they say, hey, Atlanta, a fifth and Kenny Galladay for a seventh just for you to take him off our books. I don't know if Atlanta even has
Right.
the cap for that, but the cap is like these contracts are so flexible. Like Spot Track is like a decent resource, and like Madden and anything that people use to like do cap shenanigans with like isn't real. They can negotiate for like massive restructures and stuff like that to make things happen. So I bet something's gonna happen to where Kenny Galladay gets moved in some capacity, whether that be released or traded or something. But like I said, I don't know who would take him.
I think at the very least they might just tell him to stay home. Like, hey, we'll pay you out the rest of your contract or whatever we owe you, but like we just don't even want you here.
Just a healthy scratch, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. But
I'm just trying to think of Destiny because like I don't think he's a bad player. No. I just think it's a bad
and I
situation.
do think a change of scenery would actually be I know he's not as bad as he's been in New York. I think it was just when he was a free agent, he just went to the highest bidder and didn't really think about fit at all. And he's just been a horrible fit in New York.
I just think like I genuinely think like if I'm trying to when I think of teams with horrible receivers, the two that immediately come to mind are Atlanta and Chicago. But I know both of those teams have cap issues, so I don't know if that's really doable for them. But maybe one of them could like negotiate something with New York, like Carolina. We were just talking about the Browns trading Baker to Carolina. Carolina didn't have the cap space to take on Baker. But the Browns, wasn't it like the Browns agreed to pay like $5 million so that it could work or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can take on like a certain portion of the player's deal.
Green Bay is a good example. Christian Watson has been shit so far, and you know Sammy Watkins is going to get hurt. So like once Sammy gets hurt, like mid-season, if the Packers are like 7-1 at the trade deadline, they might be able to. Again, they're a team with cap issues though. But again, maybe they might be able to figure something out to get Gallaudet. Because like I really feel like if he goes to just about any other team, he'd probably be better. But because like trading for Detroit, if you get Detroit Gallaudet in return, whatever this hypothetical negotiation I'm talking about is certainly worth it.
Yeah. That's a tough one for the Giants. I mean, they might just have to eat that.
Boy, we are really moving through these games at a snail's pace, huh?
We are, but these are the stories people want to hear about.
These are interesting discussions. Like people, okay. People don't want to hear us just sit here and be like, "Oh, well, Josh, what did you think of the Steelers game?" "Oh, well, I thought it was pretty interesting." No, they want to hear us like be people, you know? Like,
you want me to tell you about how the Browns suck at defending the pass against Joe Flacco coming back from the dead?
Yeah, like, do we want to? No one wants to hear us regurgitate the same narratives about. They want to hear us talk about bitch give me a massage and stuff like that.
Which we're gonna get to. We're gonna get to because America's team, the Cleveland Browns, had an embarrassing game.
You're gonna get canceled.
I know. America's team, the Cleveland Browns, how much were they up by today? What was the highest amount they were up by? Do you remember?
No, I don't remember. I remember writing that game off in my mind.
They were up. Let's see. They were.
They had a 99.9% chance of winning.
I forget how much they were up in this game at one point, but in the final minutes, Joe Flacco. So Joe Flacco, we got vintage, we got elite Joe Flacco today. 26 of 44 for 307 yards and 4 touchdowns, and 2 of which to Garrett Wilson, who had an amazing day. And I love Garrett Wilson. I always thought he was going to be a good NFL receiver. Both the Ohio State receivers I was big fans of coming out of the draft. Yeah. But Garrett Wilson had a great day. And, man, the Cleveland Browns, like, there's a lot of people out there that love to see them lose in the fashion that they did. That was a horrible blown game, though. I mean, they had that game won, and I mean, Joe Flacco saves the day.
I, for one, hope they win the division, honestly. Like, say what you want about, like, Watson and all his issues, but the reason I want them to win the division is because I think it would be funny, frankly. Because since Watson got there, there's been so much drama and everything like that, and for them to just make the playoffs, I've seen Browns fans say, like, this is the first time I've been embarrassed to be a Browns fan. I'm not going to root for this team anymore. And it wasn't even like the sexual assault thing that turned some people off. I mean, it turned a lot of people off, but some people got turned off just by the treatment of Baker. So just the idea that the Browns finally start winning as soon as all these fans leave is the funny part to me,
Well, okay, so like today, what I realized is it sucks for the Browns players because like nobody wants the Browns to win, and we all know why. But like Jacoby Brissett is honestly playing pretty damn well, and you could tell, he was upset. He was genuinely upset that they lost it. And Myles Garrett was saying, it's disappointing to lose, and there's a lot of still likable players on that team, but
Myles Garrett
sucks.
isn't likable. It's not.
Well, I'm not. Yeah, I didn't mean to insinuate Myles Garrett is likable, especially if you're a Steelers fan. But what I'm trying to say is, like, it sucks for the players because they didn't ask for this. Like, there's some exciting players on that team, like
Kareem.
David Bell. Yeah, David Bell, Kareem Hunt.
David Bell, really? That's the first one that comes to mind for exciting players on the Cleveland Browns?
Yes, because I think he's an underrated rookie. The dude gets open.
Whatever. But I've been a Jacoby truther for a while. I remember during the whole like Brady suspension thing and Garoppolo got hurt and Jacoby came in and looked good. And it was the year where the Patriots just didn't have a quarterback and eventually signed Cam. I was saying they should bring Jacoby back because Jacoby had succeeded under Belichick before. And Jacoby was basically the starter in Indy for a while because Andrew Luck was just hurt constantly. And I don't think Jacoby's like great or anything, but I think like Jacoby needs to have more respect as like the spot starter than he does. And I think he's a very solid spot starter. And there's not, how can you hate Jacoby Brissett? Like, he's not good enough for people to hate, but he's not bad enough for people to hate for sucking. Like, he's just a good backup quarterback. He's kind of like in that Teddy Bridgewater, Ryan Fitzpatrick tier where like, if your starter goes down, it sucks, but at least it's not Chad Henne coming on the field.
Yeah. I don't know. It sucks for the players. It really does because no one wants to see them win. And like, they're actually like Jacoby Brissett plays with heart, man. Like,
yeah,
you can just tell. And yeah, he just does. But
the only one on that team
the Jets
that
winning
wanted him to get Watson was Jadeveon Clowney. I think he's the only one that asked for this, and I think there's a list of reasons people don't like Clowney already.
Yeah. Well, okay, so we have to talk about it. We're prepared for it. We have to talk about like the Browns fan base, like the state of the Browns fan base, because I've seen so much stuff on social media that I do. But there's so much stuff that the Browns fan base is doing that has been circling social media. Like, they're totally disregarding the Deshaun Watson thing. Like, they do not care. Like, they're not even trying to hide the fact they cheer for the team or Deshaun Watson. Like, they're celebrating the fact that he had sexual assault allegations. Like, the bitch give me a massage t-shirt that the like Cleveland crackheads are selling outside the stadium.
For laughing at this?
No,
that is hysterical. I'm sorry.
It's the fact that they're like the Cleveland crackheads are selling it outside the stadium. And I saw another thing today, and it was like
the Cleveland crackheads.
No, that's what it is though. Like, tell me that's not what that is. Like, come on. Like, that looks like someone went to the local Cleveland shirt shop and got a bunch of these made for like $100, and they're trying to sell them outside the stadium for 20 a piece. Like, that's exactly what it is.
I've been in that stadium.
And I saw another one today where they had like a mannequin on a table with like a clear erection with a towel over it, and it said happy endings aren't illegal.
I
Like,
feel like that's a bit too far. Like I
no,
feel like
it definitely is.
I feel like there's two ends to the spectrum. Like I'll admit the bitch give me a massage is funny, but I maybe it's too far. But like
It's like, it's not funny. Like, I don't, when we say it's funny, it's not like
we're not
the-
laughing at the fact that women got assaulted. We're laughing at the fact that they actually made the shirt.
yeah, and it's like, wow, Browns fans, like they actually do this, and they like
It's
this
a
is
shock laugh, not a
yeah, they're making it a humorous situation when it's like not at all. But okay, you were saying about the massage table
I
though.
feel like the bitch or like the massage table and stuff like that is a tad too far. And I feel like everyone on Twitter quoting pictures of the massage table saying, "Oh, this is the most disgusting thing ever. Browns fans should be ashamed of themselves." Like at most your reaction should be, "Ah, that's kind of cringe. You shouldn't be doing that." But like what I think Browns fans should do is just like if people like have their own reasoning and they like can't bring themselves to root for Deshaun Watson or something like that, it's the age-old question of can you separate the art from the artist? Steelers fans did it for years when Big Ben was a known piece of shit and they just didn't care. And like a lot of urinating trees, somebody we've had as a guest,
Yeah.
merely said that Steelers fans didn't cheer for Big Ben. They didn't like Big Ben because he was an asshole. They merely tolerated him because he could throw a football and he wasn't Cordell Stewart. That should be the Browns fans' mentality, assuming they still remain Browns fans and don't follow Baker or any of the other reasons that you have for hating the team. If you're still a Browns fan, just separate the art from the artist, I guess. Do what the Steelers fans do and just tolerate Deshaun for not being Brandon Weeden, I guess.
We did it with Tyreek Hill, and I mean,
No. See, we actively defended Tyreek Hill, and Tyreek
well,
Hill
we did, but we did with given the fact that we found out new information later. But like when he came out of the draft, like it was known, like, hey, he was convicted of domestic violence.
Okay,
And we
genuine
just
question. That happens every year. There's somebody that falls due to issues like that. Like Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is this media darling because he's a great player for the Cowboys. When he like got accused, I should preface it with that. It wasn't proven, I don't think. But he raped a chick at Penn State, and then Matt Araiza just got cut for raping a chick at San Diego State. So why does Punt God get cut and Micah Parsons get praised for similar accusations? Maybe I'm wrong and there's like more evidence for Punt God or something like that. But like, why does one get praised and one doesn't? Is it because he plays for the Cowboys?
I think it's because no. Actually, here, no. I think I'm glad you brought that up because I think there's something about it being pre-draft that people kind of look past it. Like if it happens before they come to the NFL, no, we don't really care. We're gonna look over it. But if it happens
before the draft.
No. The actual incident was before the draft, yes, but no one knew about it till after he was on the team. Like the Micah Parsons allegations, those happened like before the draft. Like Tyreek Hill is another one. Okay, so he was convicted before he entered the NFL draft, or he was eligible for the NFL draft. Well, the Chiefs took a chance on him in the 5th round. And Kareem Hunt is one where he had nothing. He comes to the NFL. We see the video of him kicking the chick, and that's why the Chiefs cut him, is because it happened while it was under their watch or while he was on the team. Now, the Matt Araiza one, as you were saying, that happened before the draft technically, but they didn't know about it until later. And I think that has something to do with it. Like when it happens while they're on the team or, they find out about it while they're on the team, well, you have all these fans coming at, the team or the organization saying, you have to cut this guy. You have to cut this guy. And sometimes it ends up being a really toxic situation because the fans now, people, just social media and society as a whole, they're so unwilling to let situations play out and wait for the facts. Now, in the Matt Araiza situation, the facts were already like rock solid right away. Like he admitted to doing it. And so that was an easy decision. But there's so many other times where, and it almost happened with Tyreek Hill. Everyone was calling for the Chiefs to cut Tyreek Hill. Oh my God, they have to cut this piece of shit. And then it comes out, actually, his girlfriend was crazy and was trying to frame him for something that he didn't do. I don't know.
Kareem Hunt was innocent.
Now, how was Kareem Hunt innocent?
Okay.
It was on video.
No, but I'm not saying he didn't hit her. I'm saying he was justified in doing it because she was calling him racial slurs and attacking his girlfriend. And I feel like, because standing up to racism is a good thing. And I think defending your spouse is also a good thing. So do the positives of standing up to racism and defending your spouse outweigh the negatives of the fact that he hit someone of the opposite sex? I believe in feminism, which is equality. And I mean, he was protecting his girlfriend, and she was I think she was probably inebriated, but she was being very violent, unruly, racist, rude, and he removed her from the ability to harm his girlfriend. So I don't see anything wrong with that personally. It's not like he's Ray Rice who just knocked his girlfriend out in an elevator.
Yeah, I mean, it
That's
depends on how you
unacceptable.
interpret it.
And like, it's just funny to me, like some of these pre-draft guys, you get away with so much more in the NCAA than you do in the NFL. Because like Matt Ariza, underage girl, but I think they were like within 3 years of each other.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure. Like, I read the report on that, but I'm not sure like if he admitted to it or what all is going on in that. But I remember
he didn't. Okay, so he didn't initially admit to raping her, but he admitted to having intercourse with the girl. But in the state of California where it happened, I think it was in California.
He went to San Diego State. So
it was already considered statutory rape because of the age gap and because of her age.
This is like turning into political, and I don't want it to, but I feel like California is like one of those states that, because I know in Missouri at least, because people always make the freshman senior joke. As long as you're within 4 years, and I think it starts before you turn 18, you're good or something like that. So I feel like California probably has a similar law because I'm basing this purely off of jokes of California and pedophilia, but I feel like the age of consent is like more malleable in California or something. But I don't know. I'm not a politician. But I do know that Devin White, when he was at LSU, I think he was like 18 or 19 at the time. I think it was 19, was accused of gang raping a 14-year-old, and nobody talks about it.
And another one that happened before the draft too, and like while he was in college, and like
and it's like, it's funny how people are like, "Oh, Matt Ariza, this human piece of garbage, fuck him," and I'm so glad that the Bills got him. But Devin White, best linebacker in the league. Oh, so glad Brady got him a ring. It's like, really? And then Chiefs fans specifically, "Oh, this piece of shit Kareem Hunt, I'm so glad he's gone. But yeah, I can't wait for woman beater Frank the Shark Clark." Since we traded Tyreek
among fan bases.
Yeah, since we traded Tyreek, oh, fuck that woman beater. But yeah, Frank Clark's going to have a big year this year. And then they'll mock like the Ravens for having a statue of a murderer outside when we have a midget running back who murdered somebody in our backfield. And it's like, God, like, it sounds like I'm defending some of like the horrible things these players do, but I'm more so just like pointing out the hypocrisy of like some of these players that you hype up. And it's like the golden child of the NFL steals money from cancer patients. Tom Brady, fuck him. But it's like, God, they're hypocrites. They just pick and choose who they want to hate.
Yeah, and like the Frank Clark one is like a perfect example. We have it's honestly kind of sad because we have a lot of examples on the Chiefs of that. And
Javon Belcher.
Like Kareem, yeah. Well, and going back to Kareem Hunt too, it's funny how the Chiefs, they would have been totally scrutinized if they didn't cut him. Now they did. And the thing is if you read between the lines, they did not cut him because he kicked the girl. They only cut him because he lied to the organization. So that was basically the Chiefs admitting that they probably would have kept him if he kicked the chick, but they wouldn't the reason they cut him is because he lied about what actually happened, and then they had to find out through video, which was like an embarrassment to the organization. But it's weird. No, it's weird because they cut him, and then he goes to the Browns. He's doing great for the Browns and got a new contract there and everything. And now, no one talks about that anymore. Like he's a celebrated player, honestly. Just no one even you'll still have your jokes about, you'll still get like kicker jokes in the comments and stuff like that if the NFL posts highlights of them, but no one's, there's not people outside of the Browns stadium with like picket signs saying they got to cut Kareem Hunt.
That's probably what's going to happen with Watson too. Because, like with Ben towards the end, there were like some rapistberg jokes and stuff like that. Granted, Deshaun's accusations are a lot more serious than Ben's. But, like as time goes by, people are probably just going to move on. Like maybe that's messed up. Maybe that's just the way it goes. But it's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's just how it is in the NFL.
But the biggest one do you remember Gary and Conley? He sucked, so it ended up not mattering. But, like, he had rape allegations coming out of Ohio State. I don't think he ended up being guilty. But, of course, he dropped to the Raiders and ended up sucking because that's just what happens with Raiders draft picks. But I remember that being one that people just didn't talk about after the draft process.
No, a lot of them, it doesn't get talked about after the draft. Like, it's like the draft is like that fine line. Anything you do before, like the teams will probably find a way to overlook it and they'll select you, even if it means you have to wait till day 3 to be selected or something. But once you're in the league, like, and you do it, then your margin for error is a lot less.
It's kind of like how, did you ever have like a cop come to your school or something and say like, in a few years, you guys can be tried as adults and stuff like that? It's kind of like, when they rape somebody in college, it's like, that's just a college kid. But if you do it in the NFL, you're fucked. It should be kind of the same standard.
It's a sad reality.
I'm not 100% sure on the Micah Parsons thing, but I feel like assuming both allegations are 100% true, I think on the scale of freaky and just like horrid things to do, like, Watson's was really bad, but I think Micah Parsons is worse because I think there was some like violence in that too. Deshaun just seemed more like manipulation than violence. Again, I might be wrong, but both massive scumbags, but one's celebrated and one's chastised, which I don't know.
No.
Boy, great football podcast.
Well, I was about to say this podcast got pretty dark, but it's going to get better because we're about to talk about Doug Peterson's Jacksonville Jaguars, who just
for the record, don't take anything from the guy wearing Oakleys at 11 o'clock at night with a Guy Fieri cutout. Seriously, I know somebody's going to get pissed off by something we've said. This video is going to go like 106 views what I'm talking about, but I should probably clarify, don't take anything too seriously. I have a fucking Padres swag chain on a Guy Fieri cutout. My opinion doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, so there you have it. There's your disclaimer. So Doug Peterson's the fighting Doug Petersons beat the brakes off the Indianapolis Colts today. And, man, I have more to say about the Colts than the Jaguars after this one. But the Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence, who I think a lot of people have already written off as sucking, they did pretty damn well today. But I'm curious as your thoughts to this game before I kind of go in on the Colts.
I don't know if there's too much to say because isn't the stat like the Colts haven't won in Jacksonville since 2014 or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like the Colts just suck in Jacksonville. We saw it the last game of the year last year, where the Colts, all they had to do was beat the Jaguars and they were in the playoffs and Carson Wentz shat his pants. But we saw that last year, and I was just expecting the same thing. Maybe not as bad of a blowout as the Jags did because they just kind of beat the brakes off of them. But yeah, there is definite improvement in this Jaguars team. I'm an Urban Meyer defender, as bad as that sounds, because everyone just thinks he's like the worst coach ever. yeah, that was a complete shit show of a season, but I blame that more on Trent Baalke than Urban Meyer. Um, I feel like if Baalke was a better GM, Urban would have been in a better position to succeed. And I still think he could have succeeded if Baalke did his job correctly. But I think Doug Peterson is going to get Clemson Trevor Lawrence back and really save his career. But really, that's my main takeaway. Like, I think Doug is a good coach. And
That was the perfect hire for them.
I love Doug. And maybe not even just for the Jaguars, but for Trevor Lawrence's career, Doug is perfect. And I love Doug. I've loved him since Super Bowl 52. I loved him as an offensive coordinator for us. I hated him because he left, because he cost us that Patriots game, and that pissed me off. And then
he went on to win a Super Bowl before we did.
And then he beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl, which made me love him again. And it was bullshit that the Eagles fired him. And I'm glad that he has a head coaching gig again, because he's just so likable. Like, all right, guys, we got some ice cream for you right after this meeting. He's got vanilla ice cream for him after every meeting, and he's just a cool dude. I'd love to play for him.
Yeah, no, I like him a lot, and I was almost hoping that there was a world where he would come back as the Chiefs OC, but obviously he was still a hot candidate among head coaching vacancies. But Jacksonville was the perfect spot for him because, like you said, I think, Jacksonville definitely needed an offensive-minded guy to kind of take Trevor Lawrence under the wing, because Trevor Lawrence obviously was struggling. I know you could hear my watch alarm. Sorry about that. But you could tell that Trevor Lawrence definitely needed that tested head coach, and Doug Peterson was perfect. He won a Super Bowl, and he took Nick Foles, a guy that a lot of people I think didn't think would do anything, won a Super Bowl. No, I know, but like the fact that he won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles is incredible. After Carson Wentz went down, and he made Carson Wentz, based on Carson Wentz's career, I think it's fair to say that Doug Peterson probably boosted him up a little bit. So
the Eagles should not have chosen Carson over Doug. That's ridiculous. We've seen since Carson left Doug, didn't he have a year? No, they traded him to the Colts. Last year was Nick Sirianni's first year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Carson was okay on the Colts, but if Frank Reich didn't fix him, he's just broken. So yeah, Dougie made Carson Wentz.
He pretty much did. But speaking of the Colts, and I want to talk about them because people always praise Chris Ballard for being this amazing GM and hoarding cap space and all these draft picks. And what do the Colts have to show for? Because they just lost to the freaking Jaguars. They haven't won a game this year. I mean, they tied. So they haven't won a game this year. I know we're only a couple weeks in, but they haven't looked great at all. And the Colts, they're again one of these rosters that it's like a ready-made roster that's solid on both sides of the ball, but they can't freaking get quarterback right. And they keep cycling in these retread quarterbacks year after year. And what do you know? None of them can take them over the top. Matt Ryan, he's no different than Carson Wentz and Phillip Rivers from the past few years. And then on top of it, they gave Quentin Nelson, I know we had a debate about this earlier, they gave Quentin Nelson, a guard, $20 million a year, made him the highest paid guard in NFL history. I feel like that was a misuse of the cap space that they had, that they've been hoarding for years, and everyone talks about how Chris Ballard is this great GM for saving money and having a mid-tier team. But I am totally unimpressed with the Colts, and given that the Jaguars beat them 24-0 today and they play the Chiefs next weekend, the Chiefs might put up 100 on the Colts.
I think you're writing off the Colts too soon. They did look like shit against Houston, but I'm not going to hold this game against them because what was it, like 2 years ago? It was Rivers last year. Or I guess Rivers' only year in Indy. Week 1, they lost to the Jaguars, and then the Jaguars went 1-15, and the Colts went to the playoffs. I feel like this Colts team is closer to that one than last year's, just because of the quarterback situation. I'm not gonna. I don't think you can compare saying that Rivers, Wentz, and Ryan are all the same. I don't think that's fair to any of them. I think they're all in
I don't think there's that much
situations.
separating them all. Especially Matt Ryan today. I mean, hell, 3 interceptions. He looked pitiful.
Again, I think it's just something that goes on in Jacksonville. The Colts just play so poorly every time they've gone to Jacksonville since 2014 was the year. That's probably wrong, but we're just going to say 2014 because I'm not going to look it up. So I'm not going to hold a loss in Jacksonville against them. But because, they just suck in Jacksonville for some reason. But on paper, this roster really isn't that bad. I don't think Matt Ryan's horrible. Jonathan Taylor is like top 3 running back in the league. And and if you want Jonathan Taylor to continue being a top 3 running back in the league, you need a great offensive line. And Quentin Nelson is a top 2 lineman in the league. So I don't think paying him was as horrible of an idea as you say it was.
I thought it was horrible value. Yeah, you can argue that it was better than letting him walk, but that contract's going to hurt them later on.
I think it's kind of like, I feel like saying that is kind of like saying paying Derrick Henry is a horrible idea because running backs aren't valuable in today's NFL, which I feel like a guard to a left tackle is fair comparison from like a running back to a quarterback in a sense. And it's like, yes, paying a guard a ridiculous amount of money isn't a good idea, but I think Quentin Nelson is so far and away the best guard that you can justify it. It's kind of like the Colts are going to justify paying Jonathan Taylor too, because he's so far and away better than every running back not named Derrick Henry, right? And I think it's the same thing. Like, if Quentin Nelson was just a decent guard and they paid him a shit ton of money, heck, the Joe Tooney contract. Joe Tooney is a great guard, and that looks like a bad contract for the Chiefs. He's taken a bunch of pay cuts, so it looks better. But that looked really bad for the Chiefs at the time. It's what caused them to lose Tyreek Hill. But
part of the reason,
Quentin
yeah.
Nelson, like you're saying, they've hoarded a bunch of cap space too. So I don't think it's a bad thing to extend Quentin Nelson and pay him all that money just because he is so far and away the best guard in the NFL. Like, if they paid this to Andrew Norwell, like the Jaguars gave, it was Andrew Norwell, right? That massive contract, and the Jaguars paid Brandon Sheriff a ton of money. Those are not smart moves, but paying Quentin Nelson, I think Quentin Nelson is so far and away better than Brandon Sheriff and Andrew Norwell that it's easily justifiable.
Yeah, no, I mean, you make fair points. It's like you said, so the Joe Tooney example for the Chiefs, like they made him the highest paid guard in NFL history when they paid him that contract for $16 million per year. And that, it was kind of like they were giving him left tackle money for a left guard. And it's contracts like that they gave out where they eventually decided, hey, we can't keep a player like Tyreek Hill because, we're kind of cash strapped. And I just wouldn't want the same thing happening to the Colts because they decided to pay an interior lineman $20 million.
I'll raise you this question. How many players on the Colts roster are more valuable than Quentin Nelson?
I say this as a non-Colts fan, so take it for what it's worth. But I'm not even going to say that these players are more valuable than Quentin Nelson. But if you're asking me the question, to give an answer, Darius Leonard, or I guess I can say Shaquille Leonard, I think he's pretty valuable to them. DeForest Buckner, he's up there. Honestly, that might be it.
I say Buckner. I'm a big fan of Buckner. I'm a defender of Chris Ballard because I like a lot of the things this Colts roster does. I didn't like this past draft for them at all, but I like a lot of this Colts roster. Like trading for DeForest Buckner was an absolute steal because he's the best defensive tackle in the league, not named Aaron Donald or Chris Jones. And then Darius Leonard. I fully believe Darius Leonard or Shaquille is the best linebacker in the NFL. I'll take him over anybody. He brought in Gilly Locks this year, which is such an underrated move that nobody talked about. I think trading a 5th-round pick for Matt Ryan being your starting quarterback after the disaster with Wentz last year wasn't bad at all. And drafting Jonathan Taylor is something that I wish Brett Veach did. And
Absolutely.
And I'll answer the question that I asked you. The players on the Colts more valuable than Quentin Nelson to me are Jonathan Taylor, and I think you need Quentin Nelson for Jonathan Taylor to be successful, DeForest Buckner, and Shaquille Leonard. And I think that's the end of the list. Let's throw it back to when Quentin Nelson was a top 5, was it, draft pick? I remember that year he was looked at as a generational lineman, and I saw there was some thing that they did where hypothetically speaking, what each team would do if they had the number 1 draft pick, and half the teams were Chubb, half the teams were Darnold, and I said that if the Chiefs had the number 1 overall draft pick that year, I would take Quentin Nelson without hesitation, and he's been the best player from that draft. And yeah, he's not a left tackle, and he doesn't have the impact of a left tackle. And I don't know if you can credit this to him, but do you remember how bad that Colts line was before they drafted him? It's what caused Andrew Luck to retire.
It's why Andrew Luck retired.
Yeah. So, and as soon as they drafted Quentin Nelson, Andrew Luck was healthier, and they were a playoff team. So I think Quentin Nelson brings more value than you're giving him credit for. Maybe it's not necessarily even just his on the field value. Maybe it's something like, I feel like a Colts fan would be more knowledgeable on the things I'm saying than I am, but I'm just speaking from my understanding of the game in general. If Quentin Nelson is out there, because a lot of linemen nowadays kind of half-ass it, if Quentin Nelson is out there going hard and being a beast, that inspires the players around him to be that way. Like Cable Haver, an account we're both familiar with. I remember him tweeting a video of I think it was Joe Tooney playing through the whistle, and he said something like how that does more for the culture of the team than Tyrann Mathieu does bitching on Twitter, and it's true. And I think Quentin Nelson probably has the same impact on that Colts line, because all of a sudden, with just the addition of Quentin Nelson, that line went from horrendous to one of the best in the NFL. I mean, Quentin Nelson wasn't able to motivate Eric Fisher to be a good left tackle, but you can't ask for everything. That's an impossible task. I hope he never plays another down of football again, and if he does, I hope it's blocking for Tom Brady.
They might get to that point.
I would love that. Nothing would make me happier than seeing Tom Brady die because Eric Fisher is his left tackle. Like Tristan Wirf's torn ACL, so Eric Fisher comes in. Nah, he's the right tackle. I guess it'd have to be Donovan Smith. And then they bring Eric Fisher in. Do you remember seeing the report that was Eric Fisher turned down like 8 or 9 teams?
Yeah.
What is Eric Fisher's agent smoking to the point where he's like, nah, Eric, turn down a third of the league so you'll get a better deal? No. He's lucky that anybody wants him at all. And there is no way in hell a third of the NFL wants Eric Fisher. Like, he sucks. Why are we pretending he's good? He's not.
Pretty bad. He was pretty bad for the Colts last year, too.
He was pretty bad for the Colts, and he was pretty bad for us for 7 years.
Yeah. Well, we're about to talk about the Buccaneers in a second, but I do want to talk about... I
don't want to talk about the Bucs.
We are talking about the Bucs, but I really want to talk about the Dolphins-Ravens game, because I think that was the best game of the day.
We just skipped the Bucs game. It was... Brady got bailed out by the refs. He's a bitch. Moving on.
No, we're going to go more in depth on the Brady game. So, Dolphins... Okay, fine. We'll get it out of the way now. Buccaneers-Saints. So... I told you when we were watching the game, and the Saints, they had a great opening drive, and they went up 3-0. And I said, well, I know how this is going to end. Because they looked great at first, the Saints moving the ball. And then after the first drive, they just stalled the entire rest of the game. And they kept leaving the door open for the Buccaneers to eventually break it open and score some points. And that's exactly what happened. But it didn't come without the classic refs bailing out Brady on a horseshit unnecessary roughness call. I forget who they called it on, and I don't know why they called it, because it was a clean hit with the shoulder pad. There was no head-to-head contact or anything, and it gave the Bucs 15 yards, and it was the drive where I think they scored a touchdown on that drive. If not, I know they at least kicked the field goal.
But that pretty much ended it. Like I told you, like it's a classic Brady game. Every single one you watch, no matter what the other team does, something's going to happen. Brady's going to take the lead and they're going to win the game. And that's what it was, that moment where they called that unnecessary roughness that completely changed the game. And then Jameis Winston, he tried to do too much and threw a couple
Here's
interceptions.
What I'm going to say about Jameis's performance. You mentioned the refs. There were 2 calls that come to mind when you talk about the refs. There was that one call.
See, now I got you talking about the Brady game. Aren't you glad?
No. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. But comparatively speaking, at least. There's that one call. I think it was Cameron Brate got the ball, and it was like Justin Evans, maybe? Maybe I'm wrong on that. But anyway, Saints defender led with his shoulder, and they threw the flag because it was for attempted helmet-to-helmet contact or whatever the bullshit was.
I don't know. How can you attempted helmet-to-helmet? That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
I think it's written in the rules that that's unnecessary roughness. But what was happening was he was going for the ball. He was going to hit the ball out on 3rd down and try to force a fumble, and they called it unnecessary roughness, which is bullshit. And then there was it was a pick. It was the first pick. It was either the first or second pick that Jameis threw, I think. I think it was Mike Edwards. And it was, you've talked a lot on Twitter about the, was it an Asante Samuel dropped pick that everyone was saying? Yeah. It was almost the exact same pick, only they ruled it an interception because it favored Brady, I guess, because the ball very clearly went between his hands and hit the turf, just like the Asante Samuel pick. But they said, nah, that's an interception. And I think the Bucs scored off of that too. And then the last thing, it wasn't the refs, but it was just a really poorly timed Mark Ingram fumble that just really screwed him over. Both Brady victories over the Saints came because of stupid fumbles and the refs helping him out. Go figure. And then Jameis's stat line looks a lot worse than it really should, because late in the game when it seemed pretty much over, he threw a couple desperation picks and like arm punts and stuff like that. So he wasn't as bad as the stat line's going to make it out to be. But I think it ultimately comes down to the fact that guys like Patrick Mahomes are losers because they don't motivate their teammates by breaking 3 Microsoft Surface tablets on the sideline per game. If you really want to be a champion and motivate your teammates, you have to break those Microsoft Surface tablets, because that's just what Brady does better than everyone else. That's why he's the GOAT. It's because he throws temper tantrums and throws checkdowns that his receivers take up field, and he motivates the refs to throw flags, calling unnecessary roughness, because, he's Tom Brady. He just does it better than everyone else.
Yeah. I think that pretty much
Fuck
sums up
Tom
that game.
Brady. God, I hate this motherfucker.
But I told you what was going to happen in that game. It was like watching every other Tom Brady game in existence.
Clip this right now, folks. Tom Brady is going to win Super Bowl 57 because he sold his soul to the devil and everything sucks. He's going to get his stupid storybook ending because the NFL loves pushing narrative ball. So why are we even playing this season? Just give Tom the damn trophy so he can fuck off for good. It's going to happen. So why are we still pretending like there's any parity in this league? Tampa's going to win the Super Bowl this year, and so Tom can get his stupid ass storybook ending. It's going to happen. It is, Josh.
We're just gonna move on to the Buck.
Tell me I'm wrong. You can't tell me I'm wrong.
You're wrong. I can't prove it right now. I
will put money that Tom Brady is going to win the Super Bowl. Like, I would gladly pay. I'd put $1,000 on Tom Brady winning the Super Bowl this year, because I know I'd win that bet. And if I didn't, I'd gladly pay $1,000 for Tom Brady not to win the Super Bowl. So yeah, I'd make that bet.
Those are words to live by.
Yeah, I'd pay an insane amount of money for Tom Brady to never win another Super Bowl. Fuck him. I hate Tom Brady way more than I've ever liked the Chiefs. Like, I have more hatred towards Tom Brady than I think any other emotion I have.
Yeah, I'm sure they know by now. We've done podcasts talking about Tom Brady. We had to do a podcast when the Chiefs lost in the Super Bowl to Tom Brady. That was that's
I feel
the
like
saddest
I
I've
opted
ever
out of
heard
that
you.
one.
No, well, we did wait a day or two to do it, I think, because you were mute after they had lost that game. But I mean, that was probably the saddest I ever heard you.
Yeah. Actions were considered that day.
Well, let's talk about Dolphins Ravens. We need to stop talking about that game. So this was the best game of the day, in my opinion.
Roll Tide, baby. Roll Tide. I mean, it's not a Tua or Tyreek jersey, but it's Alabama and number 10, so it works.
So the Ravens were up by as much as 21 at one point in this game, and everyone, I think, was counting out the Dolphins. Oh, Lamar Jackson. I mean, even you were like, I think Lamar Jackson's going to win MVP this year. Well,
Yeah.
Tua just freaking one-upped him in this game. I mean,
yeah.
36 of 50 for 470 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Now, early in the game, he was not great. That was part of the reason why the Ravens were able to take such a big lead. He got picked off twice, I think, by Marcus Williams today, and the Ravens were able to capitalize.
One of them wasn't his fault.
Yeah, but yeah, because the one was tipped off of Tyreek's hands, which we saw that a lot last year. But
we're not doing this. I'm so sick of that. I'm so sick of this stupid Tyreek sucked game. Fuck off.
Okay, I feel
fuck
like
you, Michael Darcy. Suck my dick.
I feel like me and you are two of the only Chiefs fans that still like Tyreek Hill. Like that's I
want to box Michael Darcy.
Michael Darcy still likes Tyreek Hill. Why are we talking about Michael Darcy?
I still want to box Michael Darcy.
All right, you can box Michael
Darcy.
Michael,
you watching this, buddy? Name any boxing gym in Kansas City. I will meet you there and I will whoop your ass, buddy. It's not a threat because it's a sanctioned fight. Lucas, buddy, that goes for you too.
What did they even do to warrant this?
Not on topic, but keep going.
It's just hilarious because we're just talking about Tyreek Hill and you're talking about how you want to box Michael and Lucas.
Well, I mean, there's other guys I want to fight, but they're ducking me. There's I want to fight somebody on Chiefs Twitter who doesn't like me and just whoop their ass because I think it'd be funny. But Chiefsaholic and Arrowhead Live are ducking me, so I'm just working my way down the ladder.
I don't know how we got to talking about this, but
because they're Tyreek Hill haters, and it's hating on the best receiver in franchise history just because he left is stupid.
No, Michael and Lucas didn't. Now, I did a video with Michael recently, and he was like, "I'll always appreciate Tyreek Hill." So I don't know where that came from.
I don't give a fuck what Michael says. I don't like him.
So you basically just want to fight him, is what you're saying?
Yeah, he said some other stupid shit that pisses me off.
I'll let him know. I will let him know.
He's just another one of the echo chain. They're all the same person to me. You know, everyone on Chiefs Twitter is just an echo chamber of optimistic nonsense, and Michael and Lucas are in that. So if I fight one, I fight all of them. It's kind of like an ant hive mind type thing, where it's they all circle the queen bee, which I guess is Chiefsaholic or something like that. I don't know who the queen is of Chiefs Twitter, to use the bug analogy, but if you fight one of them, you fight all of them. So if I whoop one of their ass, I whoop all their ass. In a sanctioned boxing ring, of course, that's not a threat. But yeah, Michael, what's up? I think he's closer to my weight class. So yeah.
So in other news, I think Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are the only pair of pass catchers in NFL history to have over 150 yards and 2 touchdowns in one game.
Tyreek and they both looked great. And also, Tyreek Hill had multiple deep touchdowns that Tua just flung.
They changed the game. And they changed the game. And Tyreek Hill, we've known him to always do that. He is the type of player that can flip a game in a matter of seconds because he's that dangerous. He can score at any moment. And he exploded in the second half today. And he's probably, honestly, I think he's probably the biggest reason that the Dolphins won today.
Point is, we knew he could do that. Everyone's been saying Tua shit. Tua can't throw a ball downfield. Tua this, Tua that. Tua threw balls that looked like Mahomes threw them downfield to Tyreek Hill. Fuck all y'all doubting Tua. I have a Tua signed ball and a Tua signed picture in the other room I can go grab. Tua's that guy. Tua has a better career record and better stats than Justin Herbert. Fuck Justin Herbert. Tua's the better quarterback. Tua is him. He was just had a head coach that didn't believe in him. Mike McDaniel believes in him, and look at that, 6 touchdowns against the Ravens. 2-on. I'm a member. We are coming.
I think that's all that needs to be said about this game.
Yeah, 2-on, best account on Twitter.
I have found the Ravens fan base to be one of the more annoying fan bases over the last several years, and to see them have an all-time collapse like today was hysterical.
We hoop and tantrum. Best thing to come out of this. This guy is the most unlikable fuck there is. Like, he is so cringe and obnoxious. The fact that it's part of the reason I don't use.
He does it
TikTok
on purpose.
anymore.
He does it on purpose.
It doesn't matter that he does it on purpose. It's still annoying. You know, like there was like, have you seen that TikTok of the chick eating at Starbucks and she's just like intentionally making the most annoying comments possible? Yeah. Like, it doesn't matter that it's on purpose. It's still obnoxious and I still hate it. Like, I get that it's a bit, but God, I still hate it.
Yeah, I found the Ravens fan base to be very annoying over the last several years, especially when the Chiefs and Ravens had their kind of little rivalry going on before the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, and I guess like the 2020 season. But to see them collapse,
the bad one, Lamar Heisman, I think was his ad.
He's one of them that's like very annoying. I remember we made a podcast too when the Chiefs beat the Ravens in 2020, and that was like the Ravens Super Bowl that game, and we just beat the brakes off of them. And I remember they were saying, oh, well, we would have won if we had a pass rush. And it's like, but you don't have a pass rush. So like, I remember they said they said something about Matthew Judon being overrated. And
he was.
He was. But what I was going to say is that I remember they were basically describing Frank Clark on the Chiefs, but for the Ravens. I found that hilarious.
Yeah. We would have beat them last year if it wasn't for that midget fuck not knowing how to hold on to a football, but that's in the past.
That was a horrible game. But so Commanders Lions. Commander, I'm just gonna run through this one a little bit quickly, but Amon-Ra St. Brown,
baby.
Amon-Ra St. Brown is a monster. The Lions were up 22-0. Washington made it interesting. Then the Lions pulled away again. And is Ron Rivera in trouble?
I hope not. I don't think he should be. I could see them firing him, but I don't think they should. But I have 3 takeaways from this game. 1, MCDC is a good coach. That Lions team is not good, but MCDC has them fighting hard. 2, I'm really concerned that the Lions are going to do good enough to the point where they convince themselves Jared Goff is their guy. I really hope they don't do that. There's like several teams that I've seen be interested in drafting a quarterback for no reason, and other teams are like the Niners. There was no reason for the Niners to go get Trey Lance. We can talk about that when we get to the Niners because I have a lot to say on that front. But Jared Goff is not him, and I feel like if Jimmy Garoppolo was on the Lions, that's a playoff team. But I really hope that they do good enough for people to see how good of a coach MCDC is, because I'm a huge MCDC guy. That's Dan Campbell, for those who aren't in the know. But I hope they do bad enough to the point where they could realistically go get Bryce or something so that MCDC has a quarterback, because it's a shame that MCDC is stuck with Jared Goff. But and then my third takeaway is going to have to come back to me because I just completely forgot it.
Well, I think your third takeaway is we're going to talk about it.
Oh, I know. We talked about it earlier. That's why I forgot about it. Not on the show, but We took Josh Kando over Amon-Ra St. Brown. And I can remember I was pounding the table for Amon-Ra St. Brown during the draft process because I did not like our receivers. And everyone told me, Amon-Ra St. Brown is mid. We don't need him. We have great receivers, yada, 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 yada. This receiving core would be so much better if we took him over sorry-ass Frank Clark clone Josh Kando. So, I don't know what I'm talking about, though.
We badly needed a receiver.
Trust Veach. Fuck Veach. I'm not gonna trust him. I'm gonna trust my evaluation of the players over his because my evaluation of the players have proven to be more or correct more often than his. So that's a whole other episode.
If you were the GM, we'd have Dante Jackson and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameis Winston.
We'd probably have Mac Jones if I'm being
I need to
real.
get a screenshot of that tweet so I can put it up over the.
No.
Why?
No.
You don't want people to see it?
I don't want my 14-year-old takes being taken seriously, but since we've been making this show,
for those of you that don't know, when drafting Mahomes, Connor tweeted out that Mahomes was a bust before he even played really a game yet. He tweeted out Mahomes was a bust, and is there any way we can still get Jameis Winston?
Okay. I bet Jameis Winston could close out the AFC Championship against the Bengals. I think there's a lot of quarterbacks that could do that. You know who can't?
As a spot starter? Yeah, maybe he does in that game. But I don't think we make it to the AFC Championship game if we have Winston instead of Mahomes.
But he wins it.
Sense. Probably, yeah. I like Jameis.
Has Jameis ever beat Joe Burrow? I don't even know if they've played.
I couldn't say. But I like Jameis. I like Jameis Winston. I always believed in him. Seahawks 49ers, though. Trey Lance got hurt, so I guess that sucks, but the 49ers still won by 20 points because
does it suck?
Geno Smith ran out of magic, I guess. That's pretty much it. Charvarius Ward got an interception, former Chief.
He picked off DJ Dallas.
I know. It was a horrible play.
Okay. I will stand by the fact that as far as draft capital goes, no. But Trey Lance breaking his ankle is the best thing that could have happened for the Niners this season. Jimmy, what is the stat that Barry tweeted? It was like Kyle Shanahan has a horrendous record without Jimmy, and his record with Jimmy is like 3-1 wins and losses. And it's like, why? What's the point of drafting Trey Lance? Like, Jimmy got you to the Super Bowl, and I wouldn't say people blame them losing the Super Bowl on Jimmy. I disagree, but I like Jimmy a lot.
I think Kyle Shanahan just didn't learn his lessons from 28-3.
Here it is. Kyle Shanahan is 8-29 without Jimmy G. He is 35-16 with Jimmy, and it's like, Jimmy's not the problem. The problem is health, if we're being frank, and Trey Lance doesn't solve that. And especially, it's because they want Trey to be Mahomes, and he's not going to be. So that's a dumbass expectations. So how about instead of wasting 3 first-round draft picks to go get this guy who's not better than Jimmy, you use those 3 first-round draft picks to revitalize that defense because you traded DeForest Buckner away in order to pay Eric Armstead, which was a dumbass move. John Lynch is a horrible GM. Let me just say that right now. He is terrible. But like trading DeForest Buckner instead of letting Armstead walk, ridiculous. And then trading up for Trey Lance. God, that's horrible. But yeah, they should have just kept.
Also did the D Ford trade, and they almost took Frank Clark from us this offseason.
Yeah, John Lynch needs to be fired. I think Kyle Shanahan is a good coach, though, and I think Jimmy is a good quarterback. He had some really bad stretches last year, and you could argue that he lost the NFC Championship for him, but I don't think Trey Lance gets him to the the NFC Championship last year. I mean, I just said this kind of inverse about Mahomes, but I don't think that moving on from Jimmy helps the Niners in any way. I think having Jimmy, maybe having Jimmy on a smaller cap hit would help them a lot. because I don't think they should be paying Jimmy a lot, but I don't think they should be looking to move on from him. And I think that was a mistake. And obviously, you can't get those draft picks back. But hey, Jimmy's going to have at least one last ride with the Niners. And healthy Jimmy is taking them to the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl. I don't think Trey Lance does either of those. Granted, we haven't seen too much of him, but he wasn't anything special in his 12 games at North Dakota State. He wasn't anything mind-blowing in any of his preseason games or his spot starts last year. So how does Trey Lance give you a better shot to win than Jimmy? So having Jimmy under center this year, George Kittle loves Jimmy. Like, everyone loves Jimmy. So yeah, let handsome Italian man start this season and good things are going to happen. And
it's going to be real funny if the guy that I think most people thought Jimmy G would have been traded by now. It'd be funny if that guy ended up saving their season in wake of
he's
Trey
going
Lance's
to.
injury.
I get that it was raining for the Bears game last week, but the Niners offense just looks better with Jimmy out there. And that was true last year when Trey came in for Jimmy at different points. The Niners are just a better football team when Jimmy Garoppolo is out there. Is Jimmy Garoppolo Steve Young or Joe Montana? No. But is Jimmy Garoppolo the Niners' best option? Outside, unless they could get Aaron Rodgers or something. Yeah, Jimmy is their best option. So I just don't understand trying to move on from him at all.
Well, he's about to save their season. I think it would be awesome if they went on another deep playoff run with him.
Could you imagine if they won the Super Bowl?
Even though they don't deserve it from him. They don't deserve a Jimmy performance the way they've treated him.
No, Jimmy is one of the most disrespected quarterbacks in the league for no reason. The fact that Jared Goff is an unopposed starter, while Jimmy G is kind of thrown away like trash, is ridiculous.
Yeah, it sucks. But Falcons Rams. Falcons went up 28-3. Rams went up 28-3, and the Falcons almost reversed the curse and came back, but Rams escaped with a win, 31-27. Rams are kind of recovering from their Super Bowl hangover per se, but I don't know if that game.
I don't have too much to say about this.
I don't either. Matthew Stafford had 2 interceptions again. Should we be concerned about his turning the ball over?
No, he led the league in picks last year and still won the Super Bowl.
Fair enough.
I don't care.
All right.
Dude, if you remember, I already know people are going to – I said I didn't have anything to say, but now I'm going to say something about it. But last year, the Rams had some really bad games that they should have won, and they didn't. And so I know after them losing to a great Bills team and not looking great against the Falcons, people are going to be like, the Rams are done. The Rams are this. The Rams are that. The Rams are fine.
I think real quick, I think today's game was a classic case of they went up big and they let their foot off the gas. And
yeah, it's not a big deal.
Yeah,
I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, Cardinals Raiders, probably the second best game from today. The Raiders blow a 20-0 lead and lose in overtime. They almost lost multiple times in overtime, which is insane. Hunter Renfrow. Okay, so I saw a lot of people were complaining that Josh McDaniel. I drew a blank for a second. Josh McDaniel wasn't running the ball in overtime when they were already super close to field goal range after the Cardinals. Did they turn it over on downs or yeah, they turned it over on downs, didn't they, in overtime, the Cardinals?
I want to say they punted, but I might be wrong.
No, I'm pretty sure they turned it over on downs. I could be wrong, but they were really close to the field goal target line, and they weren't running the ball. They insisted on throwing it, and Hunter Renfrow gets a pass, fumbles it. Luckily, they recover, and then what do? They immediately go back to Hunter Renfrow 2 plays later, and he fumbles the game away to Byron Murphy, who takes it for a Cardinals touchdown.
Should be Chief Byron Murphy, by the way.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, so the Raiders, the AFC West was hyped up this year, Raiders being one of the reasons because they made a bunch of moves, traded for Devontae Adams, brought in Chandler Jones, hired a new head coach, and now you're 0-2. You don't look great. you lost to the Cardinals in the most embarrassing fashion, and the Cardinals are not a good team this year. And a lot of people expect Cliff Kingsbury to get fired. So,
He
like,
should
if
be.
if you're the Raiders, where do you go after a loss like this?
Let me say this. Fuck the Raiders. They deserve this. Last year, the Raiders were a scrappy team that came back from adversity. They went through so much, and I was actively rooting for them to make the playoffs. Them beating the Chargers in that overtime game with the famous Derek Carr, that was great. The Raiders were a very likable team last year. They are not anymore because they didn't bring back Rich Bisaccia. Rich Bisaccia was what made them such a likable team last year, and they replaced him with Josh McDaniels, or as I saw one Bronco fan refer to him, Josh McDickhead. But they're not a likable team anymore, and I wish nothing but the worst on them. I hope they beat the Chargers and Broncos, but I hope they lose every other game. But I'm so glad that they lost this game. But honestly, if I'm a Cardinals fan, this is potentially one of the worst results we could have had. Kyler Murray looked great, by the way. Let me just point that out. I'm not really a Kyler Murray guy.
That
But
2-point conversion play?
Yes, dude. Just his pocket presence and his patience and the ability to keep the play alive was just unlike any other quarterback in the league. Like, that is like, when you talk about scrambling now, you think of like Lamar Jackson, like scrambling 40 yards, but that's a QB run. When you talk about like actual scrambling, Kyler Murray is the best in the league of just like keeping the play alive. Like that 2-point conversion was 20 seconds. That is insane. But yeah, props to Kyler Murray. Great game. But I was going to say, if I'm a Cardinals fan, this is potentially one of the worst outcomes. Because if you look at Cliff Kingsbury should have never been hired. Let me just point that out. He was not qualified at all, but hey, he coached Mahomes to a 500 record in the Big 12, and got fired at Tech. He must be a great hire, right? And Steve Keim had a horrendous offseason. Like, trading a first-round draft pick for safe driver Marquise Brown was just horrendous. Why would you do that? Oh, yeah, you're right. They did turn it over on downs because safe driver Marquise Brown couldn't haul in a wide open pass. But yeah, Steve Keim and Cliff Kingsbury need to be fired for the sake of the Cardinals. The Cardinals are a very talented team. As we saw from the past 2 years under Kingsbury, they start off really hot and then fail miserably late in the year. And that's because of coaching. And now DeAndre Hopkins isn't going to be with them for the first 6 weeks. So they're probably going to suck throughout the first 6 weeks. So yeah, if I'm a Cardinals fan, I want to be bad this year so that Keim and Kingsbury are out of here so that you can get coaches that can actually win with your talent that you clearly have with the best receiver in the NFL and the best scrambling quarterback in the NFL. But fuck Cliff Kingsbury and fuck Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, no, I can agree. It was a hilarious game though to watch unfold.
Oh yeah, you were on court with me, and I was doing a play-by-play of the Byron Murphy touchdown. It was a good time.
Well, it's like both teams I felt like deserved to lose so much.
Oh yeah,
I would have been happy with either result, but to see the Raiders lose the way they did, that was a perfect ending. And
did you see them popping champagne in the third quarter?
Yeah, I saw the video of the fans in the stands too.
They were popping champagne because of the Las Vegas Aces winning the WNBA Finals, but it's a lot funnier to think they were popping champagne for the game they would go on to blow. Why did anyone think they were popping champagne for a week 2 game anyway? I don't know, but
probably because people would be surprised and look at Chargers fans. They always make a T-shirt about stupid things like tackles in a game that they lost.
Fuck Chargers fans. Fuck the Chargers as an organization, except their uniforms.
Really.
Their alternate uniforms. Their main uniforms suck, but
yeah. Texans Broncos. Another.
God damn it, Texans!
To talk about. Yeah, the Texans. I'm disappointed they didn't win because they definitely deserve to win more than the Broncos. And I think, are the Broncos the most hated team in America right now?
I don't know if they're the most hated, but maybe by their own fans. Did you hear they got so many delay of games? I think they got more delay of games today than they did the entire season last year, to the point where the crowd was counting down the play clock so Russ would know when to snap the ball. And Russ got booed off the field multiple times. And do we think Nathaniel Hackett goes one and done? Because I get they won this
Yeah.
game, but God, what an awful coaching performance.
Well, I've
Like-
always said it. I think they hired Nathaniel Hackett because they thought they were going to get Aaron Rodgers. And not only did Aaron Rodgers not come, but Nathaniel Hackett isn't really that great of a coach. And now he's stuck with Russell Wilson. And I don't think they're a good pairing at all. And it's a recipe for disaster. And I can't believe nobody's talking about the fact that they gave Russ like $245 million. He's going to be getting paid more than Patrick Mahomes annually. Either that or about the same. And he didn't even play it down for the Denver Broncos yet. And now we're seeing him, and he does not look good at all. And Nathaniel Hackett, he can't coach. He can't. I mean, just through 2 games, he's been horrible. And the Texans really should have won this game. The Broncos did not deserve to win it. And I think everyone wanted to see the Texans win.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think a takeaway I had it is everyone wanted to see Davis Mills succeed because he was like this fun little story from last year, best rookie quarterback from somebody nobody was expecting. Davis Mills isn't him. I'm sorry, he's just not. And the Texans are just not a good team. So, yeah, Davis Mills was a fun story. Well, it's kind of like how Gardner Minshew got that 1 year as the starter of the Jaguars. Yeah. I still think Gardner Minshew deserves to have a starting job in the NFL, but I think they're going to look at Davis Mills the same way that the Jaguars looked at Minshew that year, where it's just like, okay, you had your shot. Now we're going to bring in our first-round quarterback, and that's probably what the Texans are going to do after this year anyway. But Davis Mills is just not him, and the Texans really should have won this game just because Nathaniel Hackett is a dumbass. And I think it's funny how everyone just assumed that because Hackett is silly and he's fun and he swears and he makes jokes and stuff like that, that he's going to be a good coach. Like, just look at the Packers last 2 years. Aaron Rodgers won MVP twice. That's the Nathaniel Hackett coached him. I could have coached Aaron Rodgers to that because I'm going to demonstrate how to coach Aaron Rodgers right now. Okay, ready? Just keep doing what you're doing. That's how you coach Aaron Rodgers. Like, even if you were to coach Aaron Rodgers at this stage in his career, I don't think he'd listen.
No.
But, like, Aaron Rodgers is going to do whatever the hell Aaron Rodgers wants, but Aaron Rodgers is just so freakishly gifted, it's going to work. So hiring Nathaniel Hackett was a dumbass idea, especially looking at the fact that before he went to the Packers, he was the offensive coordinator for the Jaguars and was terrible. He was just awful in Jacksonville to the point where they fired him mid-season. So I don't know why they thought this would work. Well, yes, I do. It's because Rodgers liked him and they wanted Rodgers. And now they're just kind of stuck with him. So, yeah, I don't think he makes it to next year. I really don't. If he does make it to next year, it's because the new owners don't care. And, you know, the new owners have proven that they don't care about football at all. It was just a business venture for them because he called Roger Goodell Commissioner Goodell. So Nathaniel Hackett better hope that his owners don't watch the games because that's the only way he keeps his job.
That's the thing with Walmart owners. You know, we saw it with Stan Kroenke. They don't care about the actual team. Yeah. They're in it to make money. That's why they own the team. That's why they bought the team. I really don't think they care. Denver fans will find that out quickly, but
that's the only way that Hackett will keep his job.
Yeah,
that's the only shot he has because he is god awful.
Yeah, no, he's terrible. And Russ
Mizzou looks better coached than the Broncos.
Yeah, let's not talk about Mizzou though. So, all right, Bengals Cowboys. Cooper Rush and the Cowboys. They pulled this one out. They got up big early. Cooper Rush actually looked better than Dak. Better than Dak last week.
Where was this last week, Cowboys? Why couldn't you do this against Brady? What the hell?
I guess they just should have started Cooper Rush earlier, but he was 19 to 31 today for 235 yards, 1 touchdown. He was solid, nothing special, enough to get the job done. The Cowboys, it did come down to a field goal to win the game, and the Bengals made a run in the second half. But the Bengals look horrible so far. They're 0-2. You attribute it you attribute it to it being a Super Bowl hangover for the Bengals.
I also don't think Zach Taylor is a good coach. I should point that out.
No, he's not. And look, I think the Bengals caught lightning in a bottle last year. I don't know how you feel, but I have always said that I think they're like I said, they caught lightning in a bottle last year. I don't think they're that great. I think Joe Burrow is Alex Smith with a better wardrobe. Sorry, and it's not Alex Smith slander. And I'm just saying, I think Joe Burrow is overrated, and I think Joe Burrow is closer to a game manager than this star a lot of people make him out to be. And I think the most alarming thing about the Bengals this year is that they tried to do their own little version of the Chiefs' offensive line overhaul, and their offensive line doesn't look to be improved at all.
The only good player they got was Lyle Collins, and he played like shit today. Like Alex Kappa and Ted Karras, these aren't good guys that are going to help the line at all. So I was very skeptical of their offensive line rebuild. I think there were a lot better players they could have gotten, and I think they could have just drafted the interior line a lot better too. Just overall poor job by the Bengals. And I'll say this right now.
Well, some of them it's Burrow's fault. He's holding the ball way too long. And
I'll say this. I genuinely think, I thought it a few times, but I didn't know if I should say it, but I genuinely think making it to the Super Bowl last year is the worst thing that could have happened to the Bengals. Because if you look throughout history, quarterbacks that make it to the Super Bowl for the first time and lose, almost all of them never go back. And I thought the Bengals were a very flawed team last year. We saw that in the Super Bowl. They lost because the secondary was shit. When you start Trey Flowers,
they were such a young team too, and it's like the Rams.
And that's the issue. Zach Taylor is not a good coach. I never thought he was a good coach. I thought he was a horrible hire from the Bengals, and I thought they should have fired him the year before last and hired Joe Brady away from the Panthers, and then just have Joe Brady coach Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, because that's what worked at LSU. Now Joe Brady's the quarterback's coach at the Bills, but it really doesn't matter. Just reuniting Burrow, Chase, and Joe Brady should have been the move, and firing Zach Taylor. But the Bengals have always been super loyal to their head coach, which is terrible. And they held on to Marvin Lewis for 2 decades because he'd occasionally make the playoffs and lose. They're never going to fire Zach Taylor now that he went to a Super Bowl. And a lot of these teams that knock on the door or make it to the big game are scared to make changes because they're like, oh, well, we were that close. Let's just run it back. Look at the team that beat them in the Super Bowl. It was Matthew Stafford and the Rams. The only reason the Rams didn't win Super Bowls before last year is because Jared Goff sucked. As soon as they got rid of Jared Goff, they won the Super Bowl. And I'm not saying the Bengals should get rid of Joe Burrow. Absolutely not. But I think the Bengals are going to be scared to make the changes that they need, mainly head coach, and just other changes that should be made because they made the Super Bowl. And for the next 10 years, they're going to feel like they're that close. And that's going to kill them. And they're never going to go back. As sad as it is to say, I really wish they won last year because unlike every other Chiefs fan, I like Joe Burrow, I like Jamar Chase, and I like seeing franchises win the Super Bowl for the first time. I always root for teams that have never done it before. So as much as I'd like to see the Bengals win the Super Bowl, it's just not going to happen. And the Super Bowl hangover, in the 21st century, the only team to lose the Super Bowl and go back, by go back, I mean the same core of players, the Eagles going back after losing in 2004 doesn't count. Right. But the only team to lose and go back is the Patriots. The Broncos did it, but the Broncos completely overhauled that defense and fired John Fox. But the only team to really still have the same identity is the Patriots. And the Bengals, Chiefs, all these other teams that lost are not the Patriots. They're not Bill Belichick. So, sorry, Bengals. Last year was your year. And they're going to wish that they didn't go last year. They're going to be like the Falcons fans, and that's going to be their peak. And
they definitely always felt a year early. And I said that last year amidst their playoff run. I was like, it just feels like it's a year early for them. ideally last year should have been their 2018 Chiefs year, where it's like they lose in the AFC Championship game, but it's like, hey, this team is really good, they have potential, and then they lose that game, and it spurs them to do stuff in the offseason, and then they go back, and yeah, you get what I'm saying. But the Chiefs, they choked that game away more than the Bengals won it, in my opinion. That's how I've always felt.
A fraud.
Yeah, and they went to the Super Bowl and lost to a Rams team that was all in, and there was a bunch of stars on that team that, some of them had done it before, like Von Miller, and Matthew Stafford was a star quarterback that had never went, finally got out from the Lions organization, and it's like there was no way he was losing that game. And the Bengals were too young for the moment. Like you could just feel it that entire game.
That game came down to the fact that Aaron Donald was not going to lose that game. Aaron Donald had been there and lost, and I'll stand by the fact that Aaron Donald is the best football player in the NFL. You can talk about positional value all you want. Taking away positional value, Aaron Donald is the best player in the NFL. And you saw late in that game, people are like, oh, Joe Burrow choked, this, that. But it was just because I've heard you use the term over my dead body games. That's what happened late in the game for Aaron Donald. Like he just turned it on. And when Aaron Donald turns it on, what are you going to do?
Yeah, especially that Bengals offensive line. Like they were not stopping Aaron Donald.
Yeah. Like maybe Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith double teaming him could have slowed him down. But, dude, it's Aaron Donald.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I know when the Chiefs signed Joe Thuney, I think part of the reason they did is because he performed really well against Aaron Donald in that Patriots-Rams Super Bowl a couple years ago. So, it's tough to think about that game and how the Chiefs should have been there and that they probably would have or could have won. They would have had a better chance than the Bengals, in my opinion. But yeah,
I still don't think they would have won. I think they would have won Super Bowl 53, but I don't think they would have won Super Bowl 56.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. But it hurts to think about, and it hurts to think that the Chiefs lost to that Bengals team last year. But yeah, no, I feel the same way about the Bengals. Yeah, twice, and both of them were still kind of like fluky wins. And it's people will say, oh, well, is it really a fluke if they beat them twice? But it's like both those games, it's like the Chiefs had it, and in the first one, that one probably pisses me off more than the AFC Championship game loss because Spags ran that cover zero on what was it, like 3rd and 27 or something insane like that. And Jamar Chase burned him for the first down. Like that was so stupid to me. And then I thought, and now I'm getting mad all over again. Andy Reid was fucking betting on his defense to win that game. And the Bengals ran down the clock. And it's like, what are you doing, Andy Reid? Why are you not like calling timeout or something like that? And
Let's
I know
move
what he was
on.
trying to do.
I'm tired of this. It's things we've said a million times. Let's just keep going.
All right. Andy Reid clock management sucks. Yeah. Last game
Sky
of the
is
night.
blue.
Yeah. Last game of the night, Packers-Bears. Aaron Rodgers owns the Bears, and there was no way they were ever losing tonight. They win 27-10. Is there really anything to say about that game?
No.
People were complaining that Justin Fields scored. I feel like that's something interesting that happened. They complained that
Packers wouldn't have lost even if
I don't think so either. It would have made it interesting, which is what I was rooting for. But yeah, nah. Packers.
Aaron Rodgers
Packers
owns
won.
the Bears. And Aaron Rodgers looked like Aaron Rodgers today. He didn't have an insane stat line, but everyone talks about like the Hail Marys and stuff like that when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, but he has the best ball placement in the league. And I just saw the insane ball placement that Aaron Rodgers has again today. And everyone's like, oh, Aaron Rodgers is nothing without Devontae Adams, which I always knew was horseshit. And what was the stat? Sammy Watkins had more yards today than Devontae Adams did. And it's like, no, the Packers are going to be fine. The Packers receivers have really never been good outside of like Devontae Adams and Jordy Nelson. And personally, I think Adams is overrated anyway. But yeah, if Aaron can manage with after losing Jordy and all the other guys, he can manage with Sammy Watkins and Romeo Doubs just fine. So yeah, the Packers are going to lose in the NFC Championship again. Don't worry, guys.
To Tom Brady?
Yes.
Wow.
It's going to happen.
Okay, well, why is it that you were a blind optimist today during the Saints-Bucks game that the Saints would win, but you're also at the same time so intent that Brady's winning the Super Bowl this year?
Because the Saints were undefeated against Bucks Brady in the regular season until today.
But they got rid of Brady killer Chauncey Gardner-Johnson.
I had a feeling that maybe because they got rid of him, that would screw them. And that ended up being true. I will stand by the fact if they had Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, they win today.
Well, I guess maybe there's hope now that the Eagles can take Brady down in the
Why didn't we trade for him?
Chauncey Gardner-Johnson?
Yes.
We got Justin Reed, baby. And
Fuck
Juan
Justin
Thornhill.
Reed.
And
Fuck
Brian
Juan
Cook.
Thornhill. I want Chauncey Gardner-Johnson.
Because he's a Brady killer?
Yes. That's
We do play the Bucks here in a few weeks.
Dude, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson became one of my favorite players in the league just by mouthing off to him.
Okay, real quick about the Bucks though, because the Chiefs do play them in a few weeks. I feel like it's being understated. No one's really talking about it. The Bucks offense is bad. And I know they were missing Julio Jones and Chris Godwin today, but their offense is horrid. And it was against the Cowboys,
so you're saying
too.
a Tom Brady-led team is underwhelming offensively? Never heard that before.
But it's more so the case this year than years past. They cannot score.
They're
points.
still going to win the Super Bowl, dude.
There's no way. I can't see it. I can't.
Okay. What number is this year's Super Bowl?
I agree. I agree with you.
What number is this year's Super Bowl?
I know it's an even year. I know.
No, it's an odd year of 57. What happened Super Bowl 55?
Yes, even year, odd number Super Bowl.
What happened Super Bowl 55, Josh?
The Chiefs lost to the Bucks in a blowout.
What happened Super Bowl 53?
That was the Rams-Patriots Super Bowl, right? Yeah.
What happened Super Bowl 51?
Gosh, why am I drawing a blank? I know the Patriots won. You get your point. Yes, Falcons. Thank you.
What happened? We're still going, Josh. What happened Super Bowl 49?
I get your point.
What happened Super Bowl 49, Josh?
The Patriots won.
Notice all those Patriots and Bucks teams were very underwhelming. They were very underwhelming until the playoffs, and then Tom Brady did his devil magic that keeps him alive, and they won the Super Bowl every year. I mean, nobody's listening at this point, so
I had to do it before the episode was over. I had to do it. Old friend Bobby Petrino.
Future Missouri head coach Bobby Petrino.
Yeah. I love Bobby Petrino.
How can you not? Okay, genuine question. Everyone talks about how big of scumbags Bobby Petrino and Urban Meyer are. What did they do that was so horrible? Oh, having consensual sex with college-age women is not a crime. You done?
Yeah, I'm done.
But maybe I missed something, but it doesn't. It's not like they went into.
It's a Cleveland crackhead selling the T-shirts outside the stadium.
Why are you saying he's a crackhead?
It is. Okay, and I don't think people mind me calling him a crackhead, given he's holding up a "bitch, give me a massage" T-shirt.
Josh, you need to buy that T-shirt.
I'm not buying.
Folks, if you'd like to own one of those T-shirts, go to showmefootball.com/store. You can get them in Chiefs colors.
We don't even have a store.
Yes, we do.
No, we don't. I guess you could work.
Where did you sell the Daryl the Barrel shirt?
That was on Teespring.
We'll make a store.
All right, I'll make a store.
Didn't we have the Fire Reed Hire Saban shirts there for a bit?
We made shirts?
I made a shirt.
I don't remember that. If you can find that, send that to me again.
I remember it being accessible from the Show Me Football website.
Really? I don't remember that. Did you write an article about it maybe and link it?
No, I didn't write an article about it, but I know we had a store tab. But yeah. I haven't. Do I even still have edit access to the website?
You should, I think.
I don't even know if I do anymore.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about this off air, but we're coming up on 2 hours now. We hit all the games today.
You don't
I-
want to. You don't think the guests want to listen to us talk about the ins and outs of running a Wix website?
No, definitely not. But I'm sure they'll want to hear us talk about next weekend's slate of games when those are over. Because this is pretty fun, honestly. I mean, we talked about it so much in just a
Dude,
couple
even
of
if
hours.
this gets no views, just like the dynamic between us, I think is pretty good.
Yeah, but
Because
if you
like,
did
I
enjoy
think us-
this, go ahead.
I think us talking like this is so much better than well, what did you think about how the secondary performed today? Well, I thought it was pretty shit as usual. I think that gets boring and repetitive
Connor,
at
you
times.
do you believe in Mahomes after today's game?
No, I don't. I don't believe in him because he can't beat the Bengals and he can't beat Brady. And if you can't beat that 45-year-old fuck, what's the point?
Well, technically, he hasn't played him since he turned
0
45.
2.
Yeah, I mean, okay. If you're still listening at this point, like,
No.
share, and subscribe. So more NFL fans can find this. More Chiefs fans, your mom, your dad. I don't really care. But we appreciate it.
If your mom watches this, my @ is Brady Reeks on Twitter. My Instagram is Prime Connor. Hit me up.
There you go.
If you want to party with Guy Fieri, moms only.
All right, I didn't need
I
you to
look
read
like
off.
such a douchebag.
I didn't need you to read off your whole Tinder profile, but that's all we got for today. So like, share, subscribe. Some more NFL fans
I
can
got
find
banned
this,
on there.
and then make sure you check out our work on showmefootball.com. We'll see you all in the next one.
Our work.